Hello, my fellow beautiful light beings. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard, and this is Solar Flash Update for August 6th, 2024. Star seeds are being massively upgraded for spiritual battle. The frequency war has begun. And as always, question your reality and then change it. Hello, welcome back. This is Mahadeva. So the frequency war has begun. The frequency war is the war that is going to spiritually separate the realities. So there is going to be a reality separation, a reality shift. And that is a frequency shift. And we are now, that frequency war has now ramped up. It has now gone to the next level. You know, things don't gradually change. When it comes to evolution, you go in big leaps. So there's been a huge leap. You've seen this just recently. Just recently, there's been a bunch of crazy things happen, and then there's been this big financial crash again. There are things happening all over the world where there are riots in the streets and revolutions and all kinds of stuff. The world is starting to come apart, and it's because this frequency shift is here. It is, we've gone into a higher octave of this frequency shift, and as you know, if you've been watching, there's been a lot of solar radiation that has been hitting the Earth very recently. So I'm going to be talking to you about this frequency shift and what it means. We're going to be talking about this Huar breath that you hear in the background. This is a frequency, and it is a spiritual weapon. And what it does, first and foremost, is that it destroys negativity. It destroys your attachments to old 3D frequencies. And it also activates the solar frequency within you. So it's going to create a shift. And, if you're like me, all of these solar shifts that have been hitting the Earth, you might have responded with a lot of negative feelings. You might have felt anxious, afraid, uncomfortable. I personally have witnessed people completely, totally flipping out. People who seemed normal, people who seemed very spiritual. Some of them just completely, totally lost their minds and flipped out. People whom I thought were very evolved and very spiritual, I've seen them shift and start going backwards. Sometimes they go hugely backwards, and sometimes they just hold on, and they're just going backwards as they're digging their claws in, trying to stay in the same spot where they were, and they can't. This solar shift that is hitting us, we are in the midst of the solar flash. It is happening. Whether or not there's going to be a final crescendo of an instantaneous huge flash or not, in this picture that I'm pointing to, maybe that will happen. That wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. I sort of suspect that it will. But until that happens, there's going to be these shifts, these waves. In 2022, I was given a vision of the Ascension event, and it was given to me in a dream by my extraterrestrial friends here. And I saw that there was going to be an event that shifted the entire consciousness of the world up, and I didn't know what it was, and I asked them, what is that going to be? Is this going to be as a result of waves of ET spacecraft? And the answer was no. It's going to be a series of solar waves of love, that will hit the Earth and shift up the frequency of the planet. So I've been watching that, looking for that, and sure enough, that's been going on since officially December 21st of 2022 is when we got hit with the first wave, the first real solar wave, and it's been happening since then. We just recently got hit with a bunch of solar radiation, and of course you're seeing it economically, politically, and all over the world. There's all these protests and things coming up. It's a result of all that. So the frequency war is shifting up, and what I've been told in my most recent communications is that it's really going to ramp up. So just be prepared. It's coming. Big, intense things are coming. So we'll find out exactly what that means. Now, I also know that if people are having the same experiences that I'm having, there's also massive energy upgrades, the frequency upgrades that are being given to people. And I was given permission to tell people that you can be prepared for this. This is happening now. A big shift is happening right now. Happened, just a couple of days ago. So I want to talk to you about the seed sounds and the frequency war. So I'm not going to get into specifics because I'm here on YouTube, and so I have to stay, family friendly. But if you go on to other alternative places, you can learn about theories of what the dark forces are trying to do to use frequencies to theoretically, I have no evidence for any of this, theoretically control human beings with frequencies and with other ways to do that. Now, I do theoretically accept that as being true, because spirituality is based on frequency. So the practices that I teach here, the 90-day challenge, the Maoshan practices, I'm going to have to make some videos about, the things I've seen about what those practices do. But that deals with frequency. Whether you're doing physical movement, or whether you're doing meditation, or whether you're singing, or whether you're chanting, you're dealing with frequencies. So this frequency that you hear in the background, the huar sound, this is a frequency which is designed to do multiple things, but it is an extremely, extremely powerful frequency. And what it does is it separates higher from lower frequencies within the individual. So you may, when I do this mantra, of course, when I'm chanting it, I feel a huge amount of wonderful energy. And then I usually have to take a day or two to recover from that. And sometimes, the next day I'll feel, anxious or down. And then it's like going to the gym, a couple days later, I'll get my energy back and I'll feel good. And then I'm ready to come back and do it again. So if you've had a lot of intense experiences from this mantra, that could be why. So let's take a look at what these seed sounds represent. So I'm going to show you the evolution of seed sounds and how we've ended up with this huar mantra. Let me just say, I know that there's not a whole lot of people in the world that know of this mantra. To my knowledge, I'm the only person that has brought this into the world. Well, I guess anyway. I do believe that this mantra will be chanted in 5D, the same way that people chant Om now. Om is no longer the frequency of Earth. It was the frequency of 3D Earth. Huar is the new frequency of 5D. I'm going to explain to you what that is, where it came from, all of that. In case you don't know, this mantra came from my friend here who showed up June of 2022, and he showed up and he taught me this. mantra. And I've been chanting it ever since and sharing it with you. So I have some better ideas on what that means now, so we'll talk about that. So let's take a look at seed sounds. Before I do that, let me show you what was shown to me a couple of days ago about what this mantra actually does. I've made a couple of cute videos. Here's another one, letting you know what that's all about. Okay, so I just wanted to make something to give more of a visceral understanding of what it feels like and what I've been shown that this mantra is doing. So when I'm chanting, and you just see me here with my eyes closed chanting, that's not my experience at all. My experience is what you just saw. And my intention is connected to that. When I'm chanting this, my intention is to send this energy, this powerful, concentrated energy, directly to planet Earth to do two things: to destroy negativity and to activate those who are ready to be awakened. And, not a whole lot of, it's a take no prisoners kind of attitude. It's you're either activated or you're regressing. Those are your only two options right now. So let's get into the seed sound science here. So the ancient Vedic seed sound was ing. Ing is the seed sound of Kundalini, of Indra. The modern Vedic/Hindu mantra for the third dimension, which is currently being phased out, is the Om. Now you know it as OM, but that little dot above the M there is actually an NG sound. So Om. And this is, even though it's connected to all three of the gods, it really is about preservation of the third dimension. It has three sounds in it, which is preserving and making you be able to have the best third dimensional experience. The new mantra that's coming is based off of a spiritual weapon that is pronounced Hum. And this is associated with Lord Shiva. It has to do with protection from negativity. So let's look at those. So ing is the same sound for the Norse rune of ing, and the symbol for that is it looks like a diamond, but it represents also an egg. And it represents the sound of something that is in the process of becoming, birthing into something else. So it's creation. So in the early Vedic times, when the Vedic civilization was really coming into its own, it was coming out of, they originally came out of, all of us who are Indo-Europeans, our first ancestors came out of there's a war there now. In Ukraine. They came out of the steppes of Ukraine, And then as they were coming down to, their later homeland of Southeast Asia, they created this civilization we know as the Vedic. And they were writing the Vedas, which means wisdom. Actually, it means vision. Vision. Wisdom actually means to see. So it comes from the same root. Wit and Ved, Veda, it means to see. So they were seeing the truth, and the rishis were the shamans who were actually, they weren't making this up when they would write down the Vedas and, write down these mantras and these very long, singing, same as the Norse were doing the same thing. But these weren't scriptures that somebody was making up and writing down. Somebody was hearing it. They were hearing these sounds. So all of the mantras were something that was heard. Now, interestingly enough, when I was given the Huar mantra, I was being given information from my higher dimensional friend here, and my whole right ear completely closed up. And I thought I was going to be deaf in my right ear for, who knows how long. But it turns out that the rishis also had that experience. Now, if I'm recalling it right, the rishi who chanted the Gayatri mantra, the oldest and most chanted mantra in history in the entire world, that rishi got that in his right ear. Same thing. It came to him in his right ear. So there's something about the right ear and the transmission of at least some mantras. So that's what happened with me. And it was an extension of a mantra that I was, a seed sound that I was given 15 years earlier. I didn't know who it was from. Now I know who it was from. But I asked for it in meditation. I was given the Huul, H-U-U-L, which is, we all know that Hu is earth, H-U, but the L sound brought it deep into the roots of the earth, the deep waters of the earth. And I've been teaching it for 15 years now. But this Huar is the combination of the Hu, earth, and something else. So I'm showing you the progression of these frequency mantras that are designed to create a frequency for the entire human race. So it is my belief that the Huar sound is going to be chanted in the next dimension that comes about on this earth. Hopefully I'd love to see that happen in my lifetime. But my belief is that probably won't be the case. After I'm gone, probably it's going to go around the whole world, and we'll find out. But it's going to be like Om is now. So just like, there was the first time I heard the Huar sound, there was a rishi who in meditation, probably his right ear started closing up. He heard Om, and he started teaching that. So Ing was the first one, and it had to do with Kundalini, and this is the ancient Vedic civilization. Modern Hindu Vedic, Om is the god Vishnu, preservation. Now technically it has to do with Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, but the focus is Vishnu. Vishnu is preservation. And it is the mantra for the third dimension. It has 3 syllables in it, the third dimension. Creation, maintenance, and destruction or transformation. And so the focus in third dimension has been to preserve this third dimensional reality. And so the Om mantra, as well as the god Vishnu, that's why Vishnu is the most popular god, whether it's Rama or Krishna or Buddha, Jesus, these are all representations of the preserving aspect, where this is an energy that is allowing you to have a spiritual experience while being completely human. You're making money, you're having kids, you're focused on your career and your reputation, and all of that, all of the 3D stuff. That's what Om is meant. So Om is gone. I mean, you can still chant it if you want, but that's not the mantra for 5D. The mantra for 5D is Huar. So that's the Om mantra. And then I need to share with you perhaps one you've heard about. This is a spiritual weapon from Shiva. And this mantra is Hung. H-U-N-G. Hung. And it is a weapon. And so you might have, whenever you hear a mantra that has Hung at the end of it, or Hung Fat Swaha, that is a mantra that is a weapon. It's designed to destroy negativity, to kill evil spirits. So it's the sound Hu, which is the earth sound, with the NG sound at the end, which intensifies it. So this is why earth is a protector. Earth is a healer. It destroys negativity. It destroys evil spirits. So where are we at now? So the spiritual weapon Hung is Shiva, which is protection. And then we have the solar activation sound of Ar. Ar. These are two different syllables put together. And what they do is they activate the solar essence. We could look at the runic equivalents. Ansuj means divine communication, and Raido is the solar rune of rules and authority and boundaries. Together, Ar means solar communication or solar activation. So the 5D activation frequency is the Hu sound, which is the spiritual weapon. It's also the sound of earth. And then we combine that with solar activation, the Ar sound. So Huar is the solar activation of earth to a more solar frequency. It is a spiritual weapon that activates the solar soul upgrade. So, that's why I've been presenting it the way I have lately, because this is an incredibly powerful weapon, and it has been, it is continued. Bear in mind when we do these meditations, it's not just, usually it's between 20 and 30 people are showing up. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but when we're talking about, if you're showing up to these meditations, you've been chosen for this. This means that this is one of the reasons you came to this planet. You came to this planet to take up this divine weapon of solar activation and chant it. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got 20 or, and after people have watched it after it's been uploaded, we're in the hundreds. We've got hundreds of people who have listened to this chant and chanted along with it. You can times that by millions and millions of times, because, when you put 1 + 1 isn't 2. 1 + 1 is 1,000. 2 + 2 is 400,000. Each time we add new people, it starts increasing the power in a quantum fashion, not in a linear fashion. So if you're chanting this, you have been chosen to do that. And I personally bow to that within you, because this is nothing to mess around with. We are destroying the old world, creating a new one. That is what this mantra is doing. And that's what you're doing if you're showing up to these live meditations. So I just wanted to share that with you, and to let you know that things have changed. I mean, I went through an upgrade a couple of days ago. I think I might have said this. If I didn't, anyway, I hope I'm not repeating myself, but I was out of commission for a day afterwards. I mean, it was a big, giant upgrade. And I was shown what this mantra is actually doing to the fabric of this third dimension, the fabric of matter, the fabric of consciousness is being completely, totally shifted and upgraded. And things are beginning to come apart. That's what you're seeing with all of the tension around the world, is that everything is starting to come apart. So, all I know is what I've been shown, and what I've been shown is that there's going to be a split. And there's going to be, I think, 3 different frequencies of planet Earth. And the one that we're actually creating all 3 with this. This mantra is actually creating the split of all of the 3 different frequencies. But obviously, if you're chanting it, you're going to go to the highest frequency if that's what you want. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you guys that. I encourage you to research these, the Ing mantra, the Ong mantra, and the Hung mantra, so that you can understand what it is that we are creating here, this Huar. Huar. It is so far, I believe, the most powerful mantra that has yet been given and activated. These mantras have to be activated, and they have been. And this one has been. And so every time that we do this, by the way, it's not just us chanting it. There are infinite amounts of light beings who are chanting it with us and activating it through us. So anyways, congratulations if you're part of this, and I invite you, if you're new to the channel, to become part of it. And the way you do that is you show up to these live guided interdimensional meditations, which are every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can show up for the live guided meditation, or if you want to just watch it after I've uploaded it, you can do that as well. That's fine. But if you're showing up to this, I just want you to know that I acknowledge that you are a bona fide starseed that has been, you chose to come here for this. If you have interest in this, if somebody does it and they don't like it and they never come back, maybe they weren't chosen for it. But if something happens for you when you do this, especially if you have experiences, you don't have to have an experience, by the way. A lot of people are definitely part of this, and they don't have big crazy experiences. Other people do have big crazy experiences. So anyway, it's been the past few days. If you've had a difficult time, if you've been struggling and feeling yourself, doubting yourself, or feeling anxious or frightened or sad or whatever it is, just know it's because we hit a huge shift just a couple of days ago, a big giant frequency shift, and hold on. So I invite you to be part of the transformation. Show up. And of course, there's all kinds of other ways that you can empower yourself. I'm going to make some videos letting you guys know what's really going on with the Maoshan practices, because I saw that as well. They showed me that. It turns out the Maoshan practices also come from these guys. They weren't invented by humans. Humans transmitted them. But these are higher dimensional frequency practices that if you're doing these practices, if you're doing the 5-element Maoshan practices, you are actively engaged in a frequency shift of a huge, huge level. And more people are going to have access to this. When I first started teaching it, the average person, if they showed up to class, they lasted maybe 1 or 2 classes. The energy was just too intense and they just didn't come back. But more and more people are being activated, and more people are being drawn to these practices. I believe the Huar mantra is going to replace the Om mantra. It's going to become the mantra for the human race in 5D, like Om was for the human race in 3D. I believe that the the Maoshan 5-element moving forms are going to replace Tai Chi. And Tai Chi has been like the Qigong for the average person. In 5D, it's going to be the 5-element practices. I'm happy to be wrong, but those are my inclinations and my experiences. And I have seen a shift. More and more people have been activated energetically to want to do these practices, as opposed to doing them and then getting so flipped out they never come back. So go and check all those out at thunderwizard.com. You can find them in the shop. And if you want to get your energy upgraded in different ways, just as powerful, you can do the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. All that stuff you can find here at thunderwizard.com. And support the channel in any way you're comfortable with. If you click down below, there's a little $sign. You can click that and contribute to the channel. You can subscribe to thunderwizard.com, but know that subscribing for free doesn't get you anything, doesn't really do anything for me. But if you subscribe at one of the levels where you actually get something, I'm also able to keep the channel going. So I do need your support. Without your support, I can't keep this channel going. But there it is. That's the Solar Flash update for. That's the Solar Flash update for August 6, 2024. Starseeds are being upgraded for battle. Frequency war has begun. We'll keep talking about this more and more and more. And until then, my friends, I will see you all next time.